Hey real estate agents, are you stuck earning $50,000 to $200,000 a year, grinding endless hours with no end in sight? What if I told you I was able to double my income year after year after year and went on to close $85 million in sales without necessarily needing to double my hours? My name is Spencer Su with eXp Realty, and in this video, I'm going to be spilling the exact hacks that netted me over $1 million in GCI year after year. Stick around because you are about to learn how to work smarter and not necessarily just harder. Now, before we dive in, if you're serious about scaling your business the smart way, click the link below to get first access to my private mastermind course, where I'm going to be coaching you step by step into how you can make over $1 million net yourself. Let's get started. Now, look, I get it. Most agents think more hours equates to more money, which is true. It will help a lot, but that's not the only thing. In my first year, I was already able to net $200,000 and I was hustling like crazy. But naturally, I looked at a lot of podcasts, I spent tens of thousands of dollars on training, and I realized what were these people doing differently that I wasn't? I eventually knew what was the path to be able to crack to the different barriers that was just mentally in my head. I'm certainly not saying I didn't work hard, but it was a lot more focused work in terms of the hours that I was committing. To give you an idea, last year itself, me and my wife, we traveled more than 3 months in the entire year all around the world and still did that kind of volume. Today, I'm going to be sharing 3 game-changing strategies that you need to do right away to double your income without sacrificing your life and avoiding burnout. Let's break it down. Number 1, you got to prioritize what is your real high ROI activities. First, stop wasting time on these low-value tasks. Early on, I knew I was wasting a lot of time doing things that I was like, does it really make sense for me to do those actual items? Is there a better use of my time actually trying to talk to people? We all hear this 80-20 principle, but we don't actually put it into place. So you gotta figure out what are those real money-making activities. If you really break it down for it, it's gonna be a few main things. Lead follow-up, reaching out to new connections, generating new business, going out to events, negotiating. These are the main things that you should be doing day in and day out. So what are the other things that you may think that aren't this? It could be like this: video editing, cut out busy work like any sort of manual data entry, different type of social media activities, and probably many, many more. You may have to do some personal things you got cut out. Maybe even cut out watching hours of Netflix and chilling. So what action item you should be doing is track your time for a week. Every 30 minutes, run a timer. And then at that moment, as the timer rings, write down what exactly are you doing and is it truly a income producing activity? Or should you be focusing on delegating that or just stopping that altogether? Different things that can help you, which would be one of the first hires I had. Either you can get a virtual assistant in the Philippines, or you can get somebody local that could be a part-time admin. Maybe you split the cost with somebody else. Even though that's gonna be your first time spending money on another human being, it's gonna save you a lot of time, but also most importantly, the mental capacity to focus on what you should be doing the most, which is those things, and it's ultimately talking to new people. Number 2, it's all about the systems. You gotta figure out systems. Now, I'm not talking about full automation, nothing that complicated, but you really gotta first start out with your leads. Be precise of the labeling of your leads. For example, who should you be talking to daily, weekly? The people that are 9 months out should not be on the top of your mind right now. But the people that are active, you gotta be able to help them, get them across the finish line, right? It doesn't matter if you're working with 100 people or 5 people. The only result is how many of them are actually getting successful into closing. Because keep in mind, you're not gonna be making any dollar amount if you're not successful in moving them along the finish line. So be sure to label it properly. In many systems out there, for like me personally, which I have a link in the description below, we use a fantastic CRM called CR Interactive. For me personally, I have the people marked in the status of active and prime as people that I definitely need to talk to every single week. Within those tools too, not only are you able to have the proper labeling, you can also have the proper cadence of an automatic reminder. Because just think about your day in your business. Your brain can only fit so many people and you can only remember so many things. So why do you restrict yourself to that? Have that plus a great tool like the CRM to log it all, but also to be able to give you the reminders as to when you should be talking to somebody and then actually following up and doing that. That's a huge part of our success, because just think about this too. Think about this scenario. Every day, realistically, how many people can you talk to? Maybe it's 50 people, maybe it's 20 people, maybe it's 100 people. It all depends on your life and how efficient you are. But if you only had a select amount of people that you can talk to, who should those people be and that you don't want to miss out on? And as you can see, there's a few people that are clearly ready to go. You don't want to lose them. And there's some people that are just like kind of passive. You don't want to keep pressuring them either. So you really want to deliver to those that want that help. And to be able to label it is the most important thing to be able to have that in place. Down the road, we'll talk about the different things that we do to automate things. But for now, this is more than enough to get you to that next level. Last but not least, it's the mindset for efficiencies. Mindset absolutely matters in this business because you are a business owner. As a business owner, all businesses require people and tools to scale, right? Imagine if you were a barista and you were the best barista in the world making coffee. Well, that's great. But at the end of the day, the money isn't just you as an individual barista, right? It's you being the master of coffee, but you got to add people to be your barista. You got to be someone managing the back-end operations. Maybe you got to hire somebody for that. Maybe you got to operate the store. Maybe you got to get the word out for sales and marketing, right? So there's all these different components that even if you thought at the individual level, what comprises for this business, you can see there's a lot of different parts that are there to really deliver you profits. And so when you think about this, you got to have that mentality of growing. And you have to also have the mentality that nothing is going to be perfect. Perfect is an excuse for not doing anything. Having this idea of being perfect actually is a hindrance for people not able to actually proceed with what they want to achieve with in terms of their goals, right? So really focus on that, on growth, delegate, right? Give to other people, empower them. The other thing that I realized as I was growing is think about this. If someone was just doing social media only and they were able to do it 40 hours a week versus you were doing it part-time, 5 to 10 hours a week, if that person was still doing it, they're going to get better and better than you could have done 5 to 10 hours a week. You may actually have more mistakes. You may actually forget a lot of things because this person is doing it day in and day out, right? So as long as you guys create the proper step-by-step formula and you give them the general strategy, that will ultimately give you so much more time back, but also improve upon the thing that you allocated for them to begin with. Like even in my team right now of the 85 million, my setup is still fairly lean. I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines. I have a marketing manager that's remote that helps me create content, helps with editing, create the social posts. I have a part-time operations manager that'll handle all my transactions, doing contracts, so on and so forth. I also have a inside sales agent doing calls, trying to set up appointments part-time. And then I have 2 producing agents with me. And so as you can see, we did that kind of volume with a very small team. That allows me to be able to net more than $1 million last year alone, where a lot of people actually didn't have their best years. But you can learn and you can do similar. You may not have to be that level. You may be able to do just a whole lot more, but these are the key fundamental things that you still have to focus on to be able to get you to that next level. But you will see the jumps go very quickly as you delegate and give away the things that are not your highest producing tasks. So there you have it. You got to prioritize, you got to systematize, and you got to optimize your mindset. For me personally, I went to $85 million within 3 years by working smarter. I did work very hard, so don't make no mistake. There's no shortcuts, but there is an approach of how this is done. Start with one of these steps today and watch your income climb without having to put in 80-hour work weeks. If you love this and want to take your business to the next level, I am launching a private mastermind course where I'm going to personally coach you to make millions just like I did. Click the link below to get first access before spots fill up.